Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brinkman, and this afternoon we have Austin Kurtz, and he's one of the founding partners of a new law firm, Kurtz Riley Law Group in Arizona, Phoenix, right? Phoenix or?
Yes, sir. Thank you, John. Yep.
Excellent.
Phoenix.
All right, good, excellent. Nice to meet you and good to have you. So just first question I ask everybody, Latte with a Lawyer, what's your morning beverage of choice to get started?
Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of like against the latte grain. I'm an Americano guy. I just, straight espresso and water is kind of the goal. I do it iced always. It doesn't matter how cold it is. Iced Americano is my go-to drink, and I probably drink far too many of them. They're in every single time. And the cup I bring with me, it's the middle of the day, and I'm still humming one down. So
excellent, good deal. Yeah, it's funny. I have to say I'm not really a iced coffee guy. I like it hot. So.
Where are you based?
You maybe you can hear from my accent. I'm originally from Boston, and but I live in South Florida now. So everybody moves down the coast here.
So you probably have more cold days. You're typically growing up in Boston, right? And so
yeah,
Arizona, it's always hot, right?
Always hot.
Like you just grow up drinking iced coffee, and then now it's even in December, it's 50 degrees out, and still iced coffee weather.
Yeah. Is that where you're from? You grew up?
Yeah, grew up here. Grew up in Phoenix. Went to college here. Went to law school out in LA. Practiced 2 years in Colorado, and then back to Arizona.
Very nice. Where'd you go to college? Which one?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. Okay. I remember from my experience in higher ed before, they have a real innovative president. I don't know if he's still there, but he was always pushing the envelope on things.
Yeah, ASU touts number one in innovation. That's kind of their
Yes.
go-to hauler that they're pretty proud about. Michael Crow is our president. He's been the president for a while.
Yeah, Michael Crow. That's right.
Big fan of the university. Yeah, I mean, I love the university. It was great. It was also an awesome time. More important.
Yeah.
Just the ASU is known for being a fun school, and it was for sure a great time.
Excellent. Did you learn anything there? What'd you study?
I was business management, entrepreneurship, and then a double major in business law.
Excellent. So that makes sense based on what we were chatting about before. You're bent towards thinking about this as a business and being entrepreneurial.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm very into the business side of stuff. I think it's really interesting. A lot of my best friends obviously went to business instead of law. Everything. I think a lot of lawyers don't think about the business side of law. I think a lot of law is in a way sales, right? We're selling to clients, we're selling to the jury, we're selling to the judge, we're selling to opposing counsel at all times. We're doing a little bit of sales, and I don't want to demean the career, but a huge portion of what we do is sales focused. And
yeah. Well, did you ever read the book Daniel Pink? Everyone's selling. You never read that book?
But
yeah, read that book. That's what he says.
Yeah,
which is true. So I agree with what you're saying. So how'd you get started? How did you become a lawyer? How'd you make that decision?
Yeah, the most typical answer 9 million people have answered before. My dad was a lawyer. I had familial ties to being in law. I watched him. My dad told me my whole time growing up, don't be a lawyer. He's like, if you do anything, don't be a lawyer. All right, then middle of college, this is where it's going. I wanted to be a sports agent. I was 100% sure I wanted to be a sports agent.
Yeah.
I wrote my honors thesis on being a sports agent while I was at ASU. I'd been accepted into UCLA for law school with the intent to go into this career. And while I was writing my honors thesis on it, I talked to a guy who was the top of his agency, who had one of the really big clients here in Arizona. And I was like, look, you are the guy. You're everywhere I want to be in 20 years. If you could do it again, would you? And he's like, I don't know. How do you not know? He's like, every single time my client goes out of town, someone else is taking him out and telling him why they don't want to. You don't want Austin Kurtz as your agent. That guy stinks. You want someone else. You want someone better. Let me show you why I can do it better. And I'm like, man, that's tough. You're kind of a jealous high school boyfriend for a living. You're constantly worried about where you're going.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, that's my career.
Really?
And at that point, I was lost. And so I just did the natural. I was in law school, and I did the natural route, went into commercial litigation out in Colorado, working for a big firm. And I love the people. The firm was a great firm, but the work just didn't excite me. And one of the partners there gave me the opportunity to work on a plaintiff's product liability case against a manufacturer of a electric scooter of sorts, where a guy ended up paralyzed. And it really changed my view on kind of like helping people. But I was doing the majority of commercial lit, and that was the only thing that really excited me. And then I was ready to quit practicing law because I just hated it. And Ty Tabor, who's one of my mentors here in Arizona, I worked at Aiken Shank, and I work at worked at Gallagher and Kennedy now. We've just opened the new shop. But Ty called me, was looking for an associate to come back to Arizona. And I was like, come do personal injury and Aiken Shake. And I was like, Ty, I went to the big school. I'm doing the commercial litigation at the big firm. I'm not going to go do ambulance chasing. Like, I had the same stigma everyone has.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
he's like, well, you're going to quit practicing law, so what's the alternative? I'm like, yeah, I guess that's fair. And I moved home and fell in love with it. I mean, I truly loved that I got to help people, and I felt good about what I was doing, and I was excited to go into work every day. And I still am today. And maybe that'll fade one day, but I love the idea that like what I'm doing has some sort of purpose. And I know that like I get to help people. And what I tell people, I tell new clients all the time after they've suffered a really bad loss or they've really been hurt, I'm like, my image is you've walked into a room and someone turned off the lights. And I'm never going to get to turn back on the lights. No matter what I do, no matter how high a level of lawyering I do, I can't turn the lights back on. What I can do is I can light a candle. And I'm going to try to light as bright of a candle as I can to just bring a little bit of light back to your life, try to make it a little bit better. And I'm going to work as hard as I can to do that. And I truly feel like I get to do that for people. And that is such a rewarding experience and such a rewarding automatic, immediate satisfaction at finishing a case that it just brings me back for more all the time.
Nice. I like that metaphor. It's a good metaphor, right? Because it's funny. I heard another attorney say that at one of these events that you don't want to focus 100% like on all the bad things that happen, but you want to talk about hope, like all the things you want to create that this person can maybe sort of dig out of the hole or turn the light on a little bit, right? And people want to root for you.
Yeah, no one wants someone to go sit on the stand and tell them how bad their life is.
Right.
Completely, right? That's back to the sales idea. That doesn't sell to a jury. No one relates to that. They want the fighter. They want the story. They want the person that has taken this really tough situation, is making the best of it. And most, like, despite the image that a lot of injury lawyers get and a lot of plaintiffs get, that's not the case. Most of these people are really hurt and they're trying to make the best they're due. And it's not like they're seeing some injury case as a lottery, right? They're seeing it as just a means to try to get back what was taken from them.
No, I've been impressed. I mean, listen, before I got into this thing, I mean, I probably had a negative perception, but I've talked to a lot of you guys, and most people seem to be pretty earnest about it, and they're doing it for the right reasons, and they really are passionate about trying to help somebody that was hurt and is on the short end of the stick. So I think that's good stuff. And listen, at the end of the day, if you're not really excited about what you're doing, it's not going to be much fun. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's crazy. There's so much about being a personal injury lawyer that I think is such an awesome, like, the business in me loves this idea about being a personal injury lawyer versus alternative of other areas of law. I know a lot of people can find joy in other areas of law. I couldn't. Like, with personal injury, you can scale a lot of the practice, a lot of the, like, you can build in stuff to help people on a mass. And you can build systems that can help these processes. And And you can, there's just a lot about it that makes it really interesting.
Yeah, so
And
talk
like,
about that. Yeah, talk about that a little bit. Like, what are the levers? Like, what are those things that you're doing to help scale it?
yeah. So, I mean, for me, like part of starting our own practice, it's based around, I mean, it's a lot about systems and understanding how we manage a case from start to finish and being really precise about how we do it. I think that that's really, um, you know, having checklists, having paths, having a certain way to do it, and constantly refining it is what I think, can make the process better. And now technology is getting so much better, right? Guys like you guys like EmotionTrac and the AI programs that are out there, better and better and better and more precise about what we're doing and quicker, right? I mean, I think everyone on the outside here is, oh, chat GPT and lawyering, and like it's not just a straight combo. It's not like you're going to chat GPT and you're typing it in, you're like writing a response to emotion. Like obviously there's some lawyers who have done that and it's blown up in their face, but it's more so, utilizing these tools to make your practice expedite in a way and understanding the use of the tools. So the real talent's like understanding how do you use these tools to be the most efficient you. Bob Simon, who's one of my mentors and like a huge influencer in all these spaces, Bob is like a huge proponent of
He is
utilizing AI in a way that like expedites your practice and makes it more efficient. And will tout it from the loudest from every building. He's like, you're not using AI, you're falling behind. And I totally, I mean, maybe I've just drank the Bob Simon Kool-Aid or something, but I'm a believer of the same thing. I think that like you got to use tech. You have to that's the only way to lawyer. And like you can run a law firm from your cell phone. That's where we're at. And it's going to get better and better and better. And the young lawyers, I mean, I talk to our young lawyers and I'm like,
Wait, aren't you one of the young lawyers? You look pretty
yeah,
young.
I guess so. I'm in my 9th year of practice. So I talked to our first and second year lawyers at Gallagher and Kennedy, my previous firm, and I talked to them and I'm like, look, guys, you got to find a way to understand where this technology is going, and you have to understand how to be a value add in using it, because older lawyers, guys like Ty, who I worked with for a bunch of years, Ty's not going to learn how to use this AI program. And if he works with a younger associate, he wants someone who can utilize his tech to make him able to compete. And so that's understanding that as a new lawyer, is understanding where tech's going and AI is going. That keeps you relevant doing it, because truly stuff like, CaseText, like they're coming out with products that are able to compete with first and second year associates. I mean, they can do the research, they can write as well. And you're like, oh no, this is crazy. How am I a value add?
Yeah, no, it's true. People resist change though, right? It's just a natural human condition, but you have to embrace it because things move really fast with technology. And I agree with you completely. And it's not, people are always afraid that, oh, it's going to replace me. It's really not designed for that. It's really designed to sort of make you better and faster and more efficient, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we look just where we are, like just look 2 years ago, and if you told me 2 years ago the products that are out now and in the market we're going to be running, I would be like, that doesn't make sense. The idea of AI written anything, it's like, okay. And now it's just commonplace. It's just accepted.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just, listen, it's trained on, I mean, you're training it, right? So it's not like it's just making shit up. You're training it, right? So, I'm guessing that if you know Bob Simon, he talks about a lot. I've seen him on his shows, evenUp, using evenUp.
Yeah. And I was friends with the guys at evenUp when they first launched, like when they started talking about it. One of my friends, a mutual friend, was in BC with one of their founders, Rami, and they talked to me when they were first starting up about, one of their initial plans was doing litigation financing, and then they had this AI demand letter written idea, and I remember talking to them and I was like, there's no way a computer is going to write a better demand letter. It's just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, Will, like this is how it's working. And I'm like, no, it just won't happen. And he's like, you don't really understand AI. Like, and I'm laughing now because, we fast forward and Ray and I got together at one of these conferences recently. And I'm like, dude, was I wrong? Like,
Well,
you
why were you not sure about it? Why didn't you think it could do
it,
that?
because lawyers don't hang out with technology. We don't understand technology. Like, I think you take the lawyers minus Bob and a
Yeah,
lot of the guys who are like the upper echelon. The majority of the lawyers, and if you take the majority of the lawyers outside the outliers, and you put the top 10% of those who understand technology, they are like by far the bottom 10% of understanding technology in the general technological field, right? Like they're
right.
so far behind. We as a practice are so far behind the general public as far as how do you utilize tech and use it
Yeah,
and everything. And so the idea of like AI, when I was talking to them, it had to be 3 years ago. I mean, it wasn't what it is, right? It like Chat GPT wasn't unveiled to the world. This
right.
idea that like it just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, oh, okay, a computer's gonna learn how I write and pick stuff. I'm like, all right, whatever. But I was wrong. And I think that like for me it was very eye-opening because I was so wrong. And so now I've seen it for all these various products, how great tech is and how quick it's changing and how accurate it is, that I'm very aware of like this is the speed of where we're growing. This is the speed of where we're going. If you can't catch on to this, it's going to be the idea of like, well, I refuse to use email. I was still sending handwritten letters. It's like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah,
you're not going to keep up.
yeah. Interesting. Um, so what other besides evenUp? I mean, what other kinds of tools are you going to use in the practice?
Yeah. So, I mean, like a lot of our intent is, obviously to use Filevine, or a case management software. Filevine will be um, uh, our actual product. I'm blanking on Co-Counsel. So CaseText program Co-Counsel, 100% intend to use Co-Counsel. I was blanking on. I'm like CaseText has an AI program. And hopefully, EmotionTrac. I'd like to use products like you guys that can do it. I use Multis Medical.
Yep.
Tommy Neal is a good friend. I think their product is amazing. It's a great value add on a case, not only from like a pure value on the case, but everyone can understand it. It's such an easy product to understand. Clients understand, oh, this is what my injury looks like. Juries understand this is what the injury looks like. Defense counsel understands, oh, this is what the injury looks like and what really happened. I think that's a priceless product.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to over tech a jury. You don't want to bog them down by just because I can make flashing signs and arts like do it. But we're in a world where we're getting more and more techy. Like I might be an outlier, but I believe like you're going to see regularly in courtrooms in the next 10 years, like use of VR headsets, right? Like how nice would it be as a juror to sit there and be like, this is how the car accident happened. Here's a VR headset that shows you're sitting in the passenger seat of the car when it impacts. Like that's a crazy image to say to it. Like if you said that to a lawyer 20 years ago, they're like, okay. But that's not outside the realm of reason.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. No question about it. There's no question that's going to happen. So is there any flavor of personal injury that you focus on?
Yeah. I mean, if it was up to me, it would be the wrongful death catastrophic injury cases, right? Like,
okay. Yep.
I hold myself out as a litigator. I like litigating cases. The bigger the loss, the more horrific the injury. Like the bigger damages, the bigger fight, the more intensive it is. I like those. I had the opportunity to learn under Tab Turner for a few years doing product liability. Tab's one of the great tire defect lawyers in the country. Learned a lot about doing that. I like to do products cases. They're really interesting. I've done med mals with Ty, and I've done government work or work against the government for notice of claim, governmental entity claims. I like those. That's my favorite case I've ever done is a case against the state of Arizona on a maintenance case. It was a really hard case, took us 5 years. We settled in trial, but it was a heck of a fight. I had a lot of respect for the guys on the other side, and we battled through. And it just kind of the tenacity of what it takes to find justice for someone who has earned and had a true loss, like she lost her husband. I mean, that fighting for someone who has lost is such a rewarding experience. And so it's not, I have this, I go back and forth because I think that there's a lot of this argument of soft tissue injuries, and people say soft tissue like it's something to ignore. And I've seen what soft tissue injuries can look like and what it can do to a person and what it can do to a family and what it can do to it can change your whole life. And so I don't think it's fair to like classify this as, oh, you have a soft tissue injury, you're okay. So I really enjoy those fights, but it has to be the right one. I think if you talk to any trial lawyer about it, they'll say not every fight is one that you just pursue with the same way. Some fights are, not every injury is the same, and it doesn't affect everyone the same. And it's, you have to learn the client, you have to do it. And, I mean, generally, like if someone's been wronged and they've been hurt, like I want to fight for them. It makes me feel good to fight for them.
Good, excellent. So how many times have you had a chance to do a jury trial?
I have, by the time this comes out, I'll have another jury trial. So that'll be, there'll be 3 there, and then a few little arbs and summary judgments or summary jury trials and stuff like that. But it's pretty hard. It's harder and harder to get in jury trials. And that was part of the idea of opening up our own practice is, I've had the opportunity to work with some excellent lawyers. Some of the guys at Gallagher and Kennedy, Shannon Clark and Bob Boatman are phenomenal attorneys. Ty Tabor's phenomenal attorney. Kevin Neal, phenomenal attorney. All these guys, they're all great. Listen, one by one, they're all excellent attorneys. Because they're excellent attorneys, people don't want to try cases against them. And so the better, when you're at these shops with people who are very successful, the less and less stuff gets tried. And I think that's the nature of our business, is truly catastrophic injury cases, and insurance policies come kind of to a head where this is a fair value to settle, and nothing should be tried if there's a fair number there, because you don't want to take the risk on it. I mean, every person who holds himself out as wanting to try cases is going to be like, yeah, I'd love to try everything, and they would, but it's not your decision, it's the client's decision, right? And so if a fair number is offered and it's going to get and the client wants to take it, that's not really your choice to go and try it. So
okay, having said that though, how many times have you been in front of a jury, and what's that been like?
How is the times in front of a jury?
Yeah, how many times have you actually got in front of a jury?
Yeah, 3.
3 times. Okay, and how have those gone?
The third is this one that we're going to,
The third one that's
in
coming,
between this week, and so hopefully I can tell you it was good after.
Oh, good.
The other one settled in the 3rd day, and the first one we had a good result. I think we had 640 with a 20% fault against it, so 560.
Are there caps? Do you have caps on any damages in the state of Arizona?
No caps.
None.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So what's you're a process guy, right? So how do you prepare for a trial? What's your approach?
Yeah. I'm not gonna act on something I'm not, right? I'm not gonna sit here and let me tell you how to prepare for a trial, because I've done not enough of them to have an.
No, that's all right. The ones that you've done and
yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, it's trying to understand what we're trying to get at, where we're trying to go with it, and what we're trying to prove. And so the first thing, it's like at every case, when I start a case, I look at the jury instructions. I look at what are the jury instructions going to be at the end of the case? How are we going to prove that to a jury? How are we going to sell this so they're able to check off these boxes very easily and award the damages? And so I want to know, as I'm approaching trial, I want to make sure that we have all that set up. How are we setting up our witnesses? How are we preparing for that? Then in trial, this is one of the things Tab used to do, and it's helped me, is like I created a checklist of how are we going to get this box checked. To get at the end, they're going to ask this, and what's a piece of evidence or who's going to be the witness that they're going to be able to say, yep, that checks that box to that element. So we go through that and we make sure that those boxes are checked every single night and verify that we did it correctly. It's the process of it is there, but isn't it Mike Tyson that says like everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face?
That's right, Mike Tyson.
Yeah. So that's I gotta say, like, just candidly, I don't I haven't had the opportunity to get punched in the face enough to really refine those processes, and I'm sure I will continue to get punched in the face regularly. But my my goal is to try more and more of them. I want to be in trial. I think it's really hard to get there, but I don't. I think we're on uh, the edge of more cases getting tried and more money getting rewarded. I don't think $1 million is what $1 million was 20 years ago.
Right.
And I think people are seeing that. And I think that people are seeing that pain and injury is real. And I think they want to award numbers. And like being in Arizona, I've heard my whole practice, people say, oh, well, Maricopa juries aren't going to award that. Maricopa juries aren't going to award that. And I'm like, if you look at the last 2 months in Arizona, we've had several great awards. I think we've had 2 or 3 8-figure verdicts. People have, Ilya Lerma just had an amazing verdict. Brian Snyder just had an amazing verdict with Gary Dordick came out and tried a case with them. And these are, Arizona lawyers willing to go out there and try. And those are the kind of people I'm in the Arizona Association for Justice. Those are the kind of people you talk to about your cases when you try them. And you just have to not be scared to try cases. And I think that's like, for me, I'm young enough to know that that's where I want to go, but also young enough to be like, I just haven't had a lot of opportunity to go do that. Just now I'm at that age where I'm like, you just got to go out there and try to do it. And I think the best thing I've learned from a lot of my mentors is like, if it's the right case, you go and get the right co-counsel to do it, right? Like if I had a great products case, I could call Gallagher and Kennedy and be like, hey, let's go try this case together. They'd be there right away and it'd be awesome to do. And it's just getting out there and getting the reps.
So what gives you the confidence that you're going to succeed, and what do you think the traits are to be a great lawyer and scale a business?
So different traits, right? I think that being a great trial lawyer and being a great business person lawyer are different traits. I'd like to believe I'm going to be successful in both. I think I'm confident that I can be successful, but I'm not egotistical that I have the right approach, right? I'm willing to fail. I think that for me, starting a law firm was a lot about the idea of I don't know if the way I approach stuff is right. I just know that if I get to the end of my life and I didn't try, then I won't be okay with it. But I'm okay getting to the end of my life and having failed miserably, knowing that I gave it my all. I think as far as a trial lawyer goes, what will make me successful ultimately in that career is I'm authentic on the surface 100%. I think that I am not trying to oversell something. I'm not trying to play some game to catch people off guard. I really believe pain deserves damages. And I think that anyone who hears me talk and hears me really, really talk about how I feel about this and talk about how I feel about my clients and talk about what they went through, I think they'll understand, if they have even the slightest bit of empathy, that yeah, this is serious and it does reward damages. I think as far as a business person, having that marketing experience and that marketing opportunity and understanding entrepreneurship from my time at ASU and building on that, I think that gives me a different outlook on growing the practice. I laughed at coming from a business background to going into law. It was always funny, like in tax law at law school, people, when it came to math, lawyers just are like, I don't, numbers, what's a third? Like that's kind of their go-to math. And I'm good with numbers. I'm good with business. I'm a big proponent of analytics. I want to know, what's it cost us to get a case? What's our time value on a case? What's our net on a case? How do we get our averages up? Where are our inefficiencies? And I want to continue to go to that. I think that one of the hardest parts of being an injury lawyer is, how do you get the cases? Right. That's right. It's like, how do you originate the work? And I think that's really tough. And I think that I think that I think there's unique ways to originate work in Arizona. I hope to utilize them. And I think that I can relate with clients. If it's letting the clients find you. And if the clients can find you, then two, what makes them want to sign up with you? Because consumers are smart. They don't want to just sign up with whoever they see. They want to sign up with someone who they feel like is really going to help them. I feel very confident about the second part is when I get to talk to a client, they'll see that they want someone who will fight like hell for them. They know I will. And I think that overcomes a lot of my youth. But then that getting in front of them, I think I understand marketing, and I understand the idea that like, I think I told you earlier is I like the idea of I'd rather find a way to make the pot bigger instead of take a bigger portion of the pot. And so if that means working with the right marketing organizations and spending money, that's who I work with. I want to work with people who will help my branding and my growth and my strategy work. And so I think one of the biggest mistakes we as lawyers make is thinking we can do everything. And it's like, if I needed dental work, I'm going to go to a dentist. I'm not going to be like, well, I can do it in the back. If I need marketing work, I'm going to work with the people who know how to do it. And so, that's hopefully the look.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, so, I mean, I appreciate, sort of squeezing out all the inefficiencies and, increasing margins, all that stuff, right? But how about, do you also want to become bigger, handle more cases? And does that mean adding more people? Does it mean having more of a referral system in place? Like, what's your goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of lawyers who, there's a lot of people who don't litigate anything, and truly just originate and send out.
Yep.
I do a lot of referral work for people who don't want to litigate stuff. I've grown my practice by helping litigate those cases that people send out. I intend to continue to do that. I intend to originate our own cases. I think that as far as hiring and growth, I want to grow not for the sake of growing. I want to grow as demand requires us to grow, right? So absolutely. Would I hire lawyers underneath us to grow? For sure. Are we going to do it out the gates? No way, because I don't know what kind of work we're going to have or what kind of load. But it always goes back to that theory of taking less, growing the pot and not taking more of the pot. I would rather the pot grow by having more lawyers there to assist. But if that means like we're going to hire, then we're going to hire, because I don't want to just be inefficient and hog as many cases as I can and not give them the love and passion that I have for a case, because that's why I do this, is to, like, if I lose focus on what I'm doing, which is to help people, then I've lost like the whole purpose of this. And then I'm right back to where I started, and I don't want to do it anymore.
There you go. Okay, that's excellent. All right, good. Well, listen, let me give you a chance to just final words that you want to leave about your new firm and you, and what's now the best way to connect with you if they want to learn more.
Yeah. We're based here in Arizona. The other founder is Brian Riley. I think Brian's an amazing attorney, awesome guy. I'm sure he'll be on here sometime himself. He's a superstar. We're really excited. I think that we bring a youth to the practice and a new age approach in Arizona that will hopefully move quickly. And we want to be a resource to other lawyers. I'm always, Latte is our theme here. Like, I will always grab a coffee with anyone that asks. Any organization, any lawyer, any law student, any college grad, anyone who wants to grab a coffee and talk, like, I'm always happy to talk. So I truly want to help people at whatever they do. And helping everyone generally comes back to benefit all those. Everyone benefits from doing that. And so any time I can be a resource to anyone, I'm happy to. Add me on LinkedIn. It's a great way to connect with me. Slide me a DM in LinkedIn and I'll message you right away, or Instagram. I'll message you, give me my cell number and interact. I just want help. And so, yeah, happy to.
Excellent. Good deal. All right. Well, listen, good stuff. I think you're going to be successful, and I'm rooting for you. So you and Brian and the many others you bring along with you, I'm sure at some point. For everybody, again, Austin Kurtz and his new law firm, Kurtz Riley Law in Arizona. And this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which which is a legal tech platform, and we help litigators prepare for mediation and trials with our Insights platform. Thanks a lot, Austin. Really good stuff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.